You are now listening to the Going OB podcast.
Welcome to this week's edition of the Going OB Golf Podcast. I wasn't going to record an episode this week. I've got a couple of interviews teed up for next week. My gran sadly passed away last Thursday. So I was going to take a week off while we've got the funeral coming up and things. But I've got a bit of spare time at the moment, so I thought I would just jump on here quickly and give you a bit of an update on what was happening with the Going OB Golf Podcast. So, the last 2 weeks, well, bar last week, we had the interview with my pal Craig. Danielle has been on the show. So, I was put in touch with Danielle by a mutual friend. They said, we think she'd be really good for the show. She's got a good personality and she's a golfer, so she knows what she's talking about. So, we had a bit of a chat, and I'm pleased to announce that she's going to come on more of a full-time basis as a co-host. My previous podcast had two co-hosts, and it was difficult sometimes to coordinate times and dates and getting everybody in the same virtual room. So the plan with this one is to chat to Danielle now and again, give her a platform sometimes. If she wants to come on and talk about something, it'll be a solo one from her. I'll still do my solo podcast to let you know what's going on in my head. I'm also speaking to someone else about coming on as a potential co-host and to get a bit of his story. So that's going to be the plans as we move forward, that we will become more of a team and a bit of a community, and we will be sharing our stories with you. Now, Danielle has been really good and managed to organise an interview for us that we'll be recording this week and will come out in the coming weeks. I think it will be really interesting. As I said, it's trying to highlight a few other sides of the game. So we're going to be talking to someone who's working in the greenkeeping side of golf at the moment, but has had various other jobs along with being a pro golfer on the European Tour. So really excited for that interview. I also have an interview slated in with Precision Pro. So Precision Pro make and distribute laser rangefinders. Jonah was really good to reach out. He's going to come on the podcast. We'll discuss a bit about his story. He has a number of other golf businesses, so I think that'll be really, really interesting. He has sent me through a Precision Pro to try out. I've never really used laser rangefinders in the past. I normally use a measuring device that just does front, middle and back. So it's going to be interesting to try and put that into use and see what benefits I can get out of that. I've read up on them, and there is a lot of benefits, particularly for not necessarily just going for flags, but picking out dog legs, distances to bunkers, things like that, which will then make me think a wee bit more. I tried it on Saturday last week, so the middle of the green on my watch was shown as 135 and the front was like 120. So I pinged the flag, and I had 128 was where the flag was sitting. So utilising the information I was given before, I looked at the furthest point distance. I thought, what can I hit that I know is not going to go, even with a bit of run out, is not going to go to 135. So hit the 9-iron, dropped before at the front of the green and rolled up to about 2 feet. And then I missed the putt, because that's just how these things go. So yeah, I'm excited to try that over the winter. There's going to be a Craig Gets Better at Golf kind of focus on this podcast over the winter as well. I've enlisted or semi-enlisted, so at the moment, the service of a pro. So the plan there is that we're going to go and play either 9 holes at my place or 18 holes at the course he's affiliated to, and I'm just going to get him to watch. So I just want him to play. We'll maybe get a wee match play game or something going on. I want him to watch and see what the issues are that he can identify in my golf swing and what needs worked on. Then we'll put an appropriate plan together and we'll go from there. So I reckon in between ferrying my son about the place and doing all the football and being in to make people's tea and things, and do the washing and keep the house going. Love you, Stace. That wasn't a dig. I was just, as you know, I like to highlight the fact that you're never in, and I'm the one that keeps this place running. So, I went completely off track there. Yeah, I'm going to. I probably can get out 3 or 4 hours a week, I would think, over the winter to go and do a range session. But what I want to do is go and do a proper range session. So I've access to a putting green in my back garden, so there's no excuses there. I can be out every so often, nipping out, which is what I do at the moment. I'll go out and have wee 10-15 minute putt arounds, get some practice in, but nothing that's really very structured. So do that. I've got a wee bit I can kind of chip at, but anything else we're going to have to go up to the range. So we're going to get a range session put together, stuff I can work on and commit to over the winter period, and hopefully hit the ground running when the summer comes. I had a game last week with my pal Stuart from work, who I believe he's off scratch now, but he was off +2, and kind of flitters between the two of them. He pointed out a couple of wee things. I'm very wristy, and everything seems to be in my arms. I don't tend to get through the ball enough, and my miss is the big high right. So that is really what I'm going to look at trying to combat. I might look at getting myself a new set of clubs after the year. The decision I had with that one was, do I buy clubs now and then get the lessons and learn how to hit the clubs, or learn how to hit the shots first and then go for the fitting? So getting better with the ones I've got, learn how to be a bit more consistent, and then go and spend some money and buy clubs that will potentially move me forward. So yeah, because I'm going to need a driver. I don't know how I'm going to do a driver lesson when I don't currently have a driver. I'll maybe need to borrow one just for the purposes of that, but I'll then be fitting my swing to that driver and then potentially going to get something else. So that's something I maybe need to have a wee word with the coach and see what he reckons, if it's worthwhile getting it beforehand or getting it after. So we'll see how that pans out. At the moment, the President's Cup is on in the world of golf. There's the Spanish Open, so John Rahm's playing in that, with it being his home open, but the President's Cup kind of the big news this week. So I did a bit of chat GPT in to find out about the President's Cup, and yeah, the idea of the President's Cup was proposed by the PGA Tour, and it says here, to create a global team competition that would showcase the talent of international golfers. Whereas really we know that the only reason the President's Cup is in existence is so the Americans can win something, because they don't win team golf events. So yeah, that's currently ongoing at the moment in Canada. The Americans have a much better record in this competition than they do in the Ryder Cup. So it's a similar setup. They include foursomes, which is alternate shot, 4 balls, which is the best ball, and a number of singles matches. And yeah, if you give me 2 seconds, I'll give you the numbers, because I googled this beforehand and I now can't remember. I think it's something like 15-2 or something in favour of the American side. So yeah, here we go. First one was won by the Americans in 1994. So the Americans have won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of them. Internationals have won 1, and they tied 1 in 2003. There's been a few notable moments and highlights. So in 2003, in that tie, Tiger Woods and Ernie Els were in a playoff. So it was one of the most memorable moments in President's Cup history. It was in South Africa when the match ended in a tie after regulation play. In an unprecedented move, a sudden death playoff between Woods and Els was held to determine the winner. However, with both players matching each other shot for shot, darkness halted play, and the 2 captains, which were Jack Nicklaus and Gary Player, agreed to share the cup. 2019, it was held at Royal Melbourne in Australia, and it became iconic for the international team's early dominance and the US team's comeback on the final day. Tiger Woods was captain of the US team. He was a playing captain as well. US team rallied to win 16-14, with Woods clinching a clinical singles victory. As I've already stated there, that historically the US team win this winning 12 out of the 14. National team have only won once in 1998. So President's Cup has grown significantly upon its inception, attracting top players from around the world and garnering global media attention. It's also been hosted at prestigious golf courses in various continents, including the US, South Africa, Australia, South Korea and Canada. The event has raised millions of dollars for charity, with proceeds going to causes selected by the players, captains and host organisations. So that's the difference. This one is purely on as a charitable event. So although I'm saying it so that make the Americans feel good about themselves, they are giving back to a number of charities. So I suppose we can't be too harsh on them for that one. So I'm recording this on the first day of it. It's really just getting started at the moment, so I'm not going to know any scores. But if you are a golfer, which I assume you will be because you're listening to a golf podcast, you will probably know the score by the time this comes out. I might stick a wee bit in at the end edit on Sunday once it's been all wrapped up. But other than that, there's not much more going on. The Live Golf team finals were held on Sunday last week, and Ripper GC won that. Then the Ironheads were the surprise one. I think they were like bottom of the pile to start with, but they managed to get themselves all the way through the quarterfinals, through the semis, and got to the final round. So that was Kevin Na's team. We'll have to wait and see if they change the format for that going forward next year. Bubba Watson is our captain and kind of part owner of one of the teams, the Range Goats, but he's failed to qualify because they have a ranking system, and if you're in the bottom you can be kicked out. You go into like one of the, I think it's their equivalent of the Corn Ferry Tour. It's called the International Series. So we'll see how that pans out for Bubba Watson. But yeah, really excited for some of the things that we've got coming up. I'm particularly excited to have Danielle on board. I think she's going to bring a really good dynamic to this, and it's going to play into the way I want the podcast to go, which is more of a laid back chat kind of a feel, and not being so dominated by what's happening on the PGA Tour and what's happening on Live. So please continue to listen. I do really appreciate it. As always, this is a show that's open to anybody. If you want to come on and have a chat with me, you'd be more than welcome. Any golf stories you've got, I definitely want to hear those. So please get in touch on it's Going OB Podcast on Instagram. That's the only one I'm on at the moment. This podcast will be going out on Apple Podcasts, but I am trying to get Spotify sorted. I can't quite work out how to get the RSS feed, but that's something for me to worry about, not you to worry about. So yeah, hopefully we'll be coming to Spotify soon. But until then, please continue listening. Please consider subscribing. We also have a YouTube channel, which is Going OB TV, and we're going to be posting mainly the videos of my trying to get better series on that, but we'll also be covering it as an audio podcast. So thanks very much for listening again this week, and I'll catch you next week.